Shalom. I'd like to say all praises due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Akakadash. Double honor to the apostles of great millstone, of whom I learned this truth, and peace and blessing to the elect out there. This is just a short lesson, late night. This is Port Royal in Jamaica, some of the history, and I'm just going to be flowing in the spirit and see where the Rakak Kodash is going to lead. But prior to the slave trade, Jake was already here. The 10 tribes and the Southern Kingdom, right? And basically, when you read about Mansa Musa, right, his brother, prior to Mansa Musa's brother came to the New World and he set up shop, right, under that whole Islam, right, and as well as the Sephardic Jews from Spain or the Iberian Peninsula, when the fall of Granada. So basically, the 1300s, a lot of the Sephardic Jews came to the Caribbean, they came to Central America, Mexico, like Carthage, like South America, like in Colombia, and they set up shop, right? And they were dwelling and living peaceably among the other tribes, right? And they set up different societies, they were like marine or sailors, and like they would travel through the world, and plunder. And a lot of you Edomites, you guys were in high commodity, especially those so-called Edomite women, the white woman, right, or the red woman, Esau. Basically, we plundered and we had our way, and because basically there was Pope Alexander the Sixth of Rome, basically was set up by the Pope, but you had King Ferdinand and his wife, right? They they were Jake, and they use Esau, because Esau he coming back to power. When you read Revelation 20, right? Could get it. Revelation 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. So the angel is Yahushai, right? And basically we were in rulership for over 1,000 years, right? When basically the 5 good emperors, then like Sephardic like Slakia brothers was late, like Septimius Severus, right? He basically he basically had the rule, of the whole Roman Empire, and basically he had rule from from Rome, and he conquered. He went well up. He went, and like they went up to Britain, and a couple hundred years later, the Council of Nicaea, right? Like with Justin, like with like Constantine the Great, right? And basically they set up the church, right? And under the whole Christian or the whole Catholicism, and they set up these churches, to pay, like tribute to the church, right? To the Rome, right? Because we were the original popes, right? Jake was we're the ones who set up that whole religion, and and basically, you had Ishmael, during the whole like Muhammad, like during the time of Muhammad, which would have been like in the 6th century, right? I believe in the 7th century or so, when the whole Muhammad came about, and he because there was the whole crusade, the crusades, right? And like that's a whole big thing, but just flowing in the spirit, right? And I'm gonna keep reading. And a great chain in his hand, and he laid hold on this dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, right? So pagan Roman Empire fell, and basically there was a subject unto us. And then during the whole Byzantine Empire, Jake was still in power. Then the Byzantine Empire fell. Then the Ottoman Turk came, right? And the Berber Moors, right, throughout Morocco, Algeria, like Libya, through that whole region, Carthage, a lot of them were Muslims, right? And they were involved in the barbarian slave trade, right? Or the Berber slave trade, right? And they were making merchandise, of a so-called Edomite woman, right? And men, right? And they were put them to use, right? And a lot of our people, they were, so a lot of them were practicing, Jews. Some of them, they were they were into the whole Islam, right? That's why Islam's very big in the Caribbean, right? And throughout South America and stuff, right? And that's like a hard demon. Like that's a hard wine, to kick, right? Because you guys are worshiping the whole Kaaba stone, right? Of the so-called of the meteorite, right? That went to Mecca. Right, so that's whole idolatry, because they're worshiping. That's why I believe this is. There's a scripture that says, "Saying to a stone, thou art my father." Right, and but that's very big, throughout the Caribbean, Africa, and Asia, right? Because Jake, we were navigators, we were traders, right? So they were basically they were practicing Islam. And one second. Yeah, so this is the article. This is the blindfolding Moor, the flag of the Cariscos and Sardinia, right? Because this is the flag of Sardinia, in the Mediterranean, right? They still bear that flag, right? Because you know, Sicily, Italy, the whole Mediterranean, Europe, and North Africa was dominated by the Moors, by Jake, right? And so we set up these different orders with the whole Caribbean. I mean, like with the whole Muslim, with the whole Islam, right? Because they say that Muhammad, that he's a Jew, right? And they say his mother was a Jew, definitely, but he's a Jew. He's a Jake, right? And basically, they set up that whole religion. That's why Islam, that whole Islam, it means I and self, law, master. Like that's what they practice, right? But it's basically it's an order, right? And basically that whole order was set up by the Jews, right? To try get the Ishmaelites off of out of the land, and basically they went to that whole Islam was set up by the Jews of Medina, and that's what it was, right? You know, you could do your research. Blindfold Moors, the flag of the Cariscos and Sardinia. All right, and Jake is still isn't basically Jake made a deal, with the devil, because even though Esau is in power, Jake is still like pulling a lot of strings, right? In America, Africa, anywhere Jake is scattered, that's they're a part of these different orders, right? And they're at high level. They basically they're basically they're for the establishment, and I'm gonna just play this and see where the Rakakwadosh leads, because there's a lot of history, man. A lot of you Jake, right? In the Caribbean and anywhere Jake were scattered. A lot of our people too, prior to the slave trade, a lot of them were already here in the Americas, right? And we set up synagogues, mosque. The Portuguese Jews of Jamaica, written by Mordecai Arbel, right? And basically, Jake, we set up these different synagogue and these mosques, and you Ishmael, you so-called you Amalekite, you Khazars, you guys learned our trade route, how we operate, and they still do. And Jake is still in these synagogues and these different mosques, and basically Esau is having the power and the domain, right? So this is page 37, the Portuguese Jews of Jamaica. It says it's a relations of the Seraph Israel in New York were very close, as were those between the Jamaica and other Spanish Portuguese Jews communities in North America, Newport, Savannah, Philadelphia, Charlestown, and in the area of Barbados, right? Because Barbados, there were a lot of pirates or Buccaneers or Sephardic Jews, and or Moors who are Muslim, that was in that whole region, the Caribbean, Central America. And basically when the Spanish of the Caribbean, of Jamaica, right? When they were basically colonized Jamaica, because we were in power. The black loyalists of Britain, right? They set up these different colonies, and like like the black loyalists, they basically took they took Jamaica, and basically they colonized that Jamaica. And because Jake were still kings. When you read about when you watch the movie Charlotte Sophia, right, and King Charles III, right, he's an Israelite, right? They have him as a white man, all right, in the movie. Jake, the black aristocrats, right? That basically they lost their power, right? And Jake still has power, throughout Nigeria. They're practicing. Some of them are practicing Islam. These different kings, of Nigeria, Ghana, and they played a major role in the slave trade. And they're still doing it. And basically they're because they're doing things in secret. They're pulling a lot of strings, right? Right, but the Most High opened our eyes now to know who we are, right? Because because we prior, and like we didn't know who we were, right? So that's why there's a scripture says my heritage. It's in Jeremiah. It says my heritage. Is it Jeremiah? I believe. Jeremiah 17 verse 4, thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. That's what happened to us, right? Because we prior, we were merchants, and we knew who we were, and we had a trade route, through the world, right? We had power, right? And we lost our power, not knowing who we are, right? And so that because the people, like behind the scenes, the Amalekites, with these different synagogues, these different orders, they know who we are, all right? And like they don't want us to know who we are now, but it's already the cat's out the bag now, right? And we're reclaiming back our nationality, right? Because prior to us learn who we were, like we were niggas. Some of us were, be smoking weed, hanging out. Some of us were, all different manner of things. Like certain brothers were, into music. Certain brothers were into different athletic, stuff. Brother, and a lot of us, we left, a lot of things, like we left the world pretty much, and we're staying on the straight and narrow, right? Because that's better, right? Because the Broadway, is deaf, right? And we see that everybody's going into the Broadway that's gonna lead you nowhere. It's gonna just lead you to death, right? But I want to play this. Let's go.
Historical landmarks. Behind us here we can see St. Peter's Church.
And we are here right now with Dane Bird. Dane Bird has been a resident of Port Royal all of his life. And he's also been a tour guide for the past 10 years. So Dane, tell us about this place.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you
for having us. You're welcome. St. Peter's Church was completed back in 1726. The original church was destroyed by the 1692 earthquake on that side of the harbour. And during the 1692 earthquake, Sir Louis Galde, he was swallowed up by the first rumble of that earthquake. The second rumble spat him out back a couple feet away. He died 20 years later. After that miraculous save, he became a devoted Christian, so he founded this church, St. Peter's Anglican Church.
The church was actually built in his honor then, right?
Right, he founded it because of that.
Yeah, so Jake, we set up these different here in the Caribbean, Central America, South America, we set up a lot of these different churches and synagogues. A lot of our people were practicing Jews. A lot of these Christians, they were calling themselves crypto Christians. They set up these different churches. That's why when you go to Jamaica, they have every street, there's a church. There's more churches in Jamaica. There are churches everywhere. There's bar, and when you go to a bar, there's a church right there. There's at least anywhere you go on that island, there's a bar, a church. There's damn casino. And because they're basically they're getting paid because they're tax free, they're tax exempt, right? And they're juiced in with the church, right? With the Rome, right? With the false prophet, right? That's who's giving them these the tax exemption and to deceive our people, all right?
Experience he went through with that earthquake back in 1692.
I was told that the bell for this church was actually recovered from the earthquake, from the previous church.
Yeah, this bell was excavated from the sunken city, from the original church, which was destroyed back in 1692.
So the whole story with him being swallowed and spat back out, you actually believe that?
Well, to some extent, I believe it could be under the ground for a certain amount of time, and the rumble could throw you back too.
Interesting.
Or
legend.
Well,
perhaps you should find out, Orlando. These are some of the remains of the sunken city. Actual bricks that were used to actually build some of the houses back then.
Right. You're so right.
And that's what happened, right? With that whole earthquake, right? During the 1600s, they were making a lot of profit, merchants, right? Because they were, a lot of them, they were the Moors, right? And a lot of them were practicing Jews. Some of them were into that Islam, right? And the Mosai, he got fed up, right? Because a lot of them, they were they're like a lot of them were drinking the rum, the Captain Morgan rum, like Captain Morgan was an actual pirate, right? Which was an Israelite, right? A Moor, all right. Like that's why when you watch the Pirates of the Caribbean with like Johnny Depp, that's us. Right, the Moors, right? That's why they have him, with the turban, right? That was all us. Hold on 1 second. So like this was like us, the turban, right? But Jake was, they were getting drunk, they they're plundering, they're getting a lot of gold, riches, slaves, right? And a lot of them, they end up becoming broke, right? Because you know, they were you know, they would you know, sell women, you know, they would get entangled with harlots, right? That's why there's a scripture in Sirach 19:1. A laboring man that is given to drunkenness shall not be rich, and he that is contempt shall fall little by little. And that's what happened, right? Until they were swallowed up, right? Because they were like living fat. But a lot of them, they end up becoming broke too, because they would get high, probably smoking weed. They're doing whatever, you know, drugs, the booze, right? And a lot of them become broke, right? Overnight, right? Because they were getting enticed, you know, by women, right? And wine, right? And basically, we're you know, we're being sober minded now, right? Because in the world, you know, we were spiritually drunken, you know, with the whore, right? That was deceiving us, right? But now we're now we're trying to be chaste, we're trying to be whole, right? We're not trying to be loose, right? But wine and woman will make men of understanding to fall away, and he that is cleaving to harlots will be imputed, right? Because you know, Jake was, you know, taking abducting you know, a lot of women, you know, from the you know, from Africa, you know, from Europe, right? And they were just doing whatever they, you know, like they were doing all kind of stuff, right? But you know, but it was that time that we had to fall, right? Because Jake was getting fat, right? And there's still a lot of gold, man, you know, in Port Royal, right, and the Caribbean, right, where cause not just Port Royal, there's Bahamas, like Nassau, right? Those were like some ports, and but like Port Royal, there's a lot of gold, right? And basically every year they're always digging up the gold, right? And a lot of these different resources, cause it's buried on the water, and that's what's gonna happen again when the nuclear, when the nuclear fire, right? Because a lot of these different countries, like a lot of these different islands, is gonna fade away, right? And we're approaching this time. I believe it's in is it 4? Yep. Revelation 6 verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. Right, so we're approaching the sixth trumpet, man. The sixth trouble, man. That's gonna come upon the earth, right? And there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became blood. So that's when, you know, when the Lord makes his appearing, right? There's gonna, like, the sky is gonna become dark, right? Because there's gonna be the big fathership, and there's gonna be a host of angels, and there's gonna be a total destruction, because Michael the archangel, right, and the Lord, they're gonna fight, you know, against these military power, right? These Edomites, you know, that you know, like with their military power, and they're gonna try to because they're all gonna be fighting against each other. But like when the Lord comes, they're gonna try to fight against the Lord, and the Lord, the angel, they're gonna send like the nuclear fires, like the silos, right, with the nuclear missiles, to come and hit the whore Babylon, and like wherever else needs to get hit. And so a lot of these different islands is gonna fade away, right? It's like islands of Jamaica, certain of these islands, throughout the world is gonna be is gonna go under, just like how Port Royal went under, right? And certain of these different these islands are gonna fade, are gonna go away. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as the fig casteth her untimely figs, when it shaketh up a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and the islands are moved out of the place. Alright? And the kings of the earth, and the great men, with the rich man, and the chief captain, and the mighty man, every bondman, every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountain. And that's what they're doing. They have these deep underground military bases throughout America, throughout the world, where these different world governments, they have all these deep underground military bases, and they already have everything laid out, like just in case when the Lord's gonna make his appearance, right? Because we're approaching that sixth trump. We're basically in the fifth trump, right? And like we're approaching the fifth trump, right? Because certain seals it has to go through, man. Right? So we're not even we're in the time of revelation, man. We're in the time of revelation, man. But I'm gonna keep playing this.
We're standing in the sunken city. Over there is the marker of Fort James, and Fort James is approximately 20 feet below the surface. And if we were here before the 1692 earthquake, we could walk further out into the harbor. The land used to extend further out all the way from here up to the old Cold War. So this is the sunken city.
Do we have like houses and churches and all that?
Actually, the original church for the St. Peter's Church also was affected by the 16th.
Yeah, and there's a place down there called Jew Street, right? In Port Royal, right? There's still Port Royal there, but like half of it is underwater.
92 earthquake, plus there's a lot of houses and the Fort James. So we have gold right here, and then we can dive. I'm a crocus bag in us. I mean, you can just go inside and dive. You have to get permission for that. Oh my! You can swim and just discover gold. Okay, but I assume there's some valuables out there when the sun comes in.
Yeah, man. So Esau, he's going down there, every year, and he's trying to get as much treasure, right? Because it's all that gold and the treasures is under there, man. Right? And that was real money, right? And basically our people were tricking it off, right? On women, and drunk, on wine, ganja, right? These are the Moors, Moro in Spanish, of the Moor, right? Because a lot of the Moors, right, they went to Asia, right? Throughout the Philippines, throughout Asia, Japan, right? We had a vast network, right? Throughout Russia, like Crimea, throughout the Black region, right? The Moors, you know, they were a lot of them were sultans, right? And a lot of them were Jews, and like some of them were Islam, were like practicing Islam, right? You know, this is you know, like Johnny Depp right here, you know. So we gotta to go back to learn, you know, about who we are too, right? Because our history didn't just start off slavery, right? Our history is very vast, right? So we gotta go back to this, right? Okay, this was us. We had harems, right? We you know, that was us, man. All right, turban, all right. You know, having their garment, you know, having the woman, all right. And we're gonna go back to this, right? But in righteousness, right? And you know, cause the world is was made for our sakes, man. All right, and like this is the our people's kryptonite, man. And, like this is our people's kryptonite, you know, is the damn white woman, man. All right, but you could get as much so-called white woman that day in the kingdom, man. All right, because we're gonna have so much different flavors and options to choose from, man, in that day, man. All right, and we're gonna go right back into that regal state. You know, that's gonna be us, man. We're gonna cover them up. All right, we're gonna have our own slave trade, right? When like when Yahushua, you know, when our king, right, that's gonna he's gonna set up everything, all right, and you know, and we're gonna rule in righteousness, man. All right, Joel 3 verse 3 started at 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they might drink, right? And basically that was the whole transatlantic slave trade, right? You know, and as well as the whole Islamic slave trade too, right? A lot of our people were practicing that Islam, man, right? And they were abducting a lot of these so-called white women and Jew and us, right? Cause a lot of our people were practicing that whole Islam. A lot of our people were, you know, were following the Torah, right? And basically, you know, we end up falling, but especially with the transatlantic slave trade, right? And you know, Esau, you know, he ended up coming up, you know, to power eventually, and basically we end up going to the slave trade. We end up falling, right? That's why when you watch movies like Goodbye Uncle Tom, right, it shows you how they had our women on auction blocks, men and women, right? And because a lot of it was a big monopoly, man. All right, and we end up start, you know, selling our own brother, our own, you know, our own sister. All right, and basically that what happened too. All right, and sold a girl that they might drink, that they might. Yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? All right, so you Ishmaelites, all right, you know, you Tyre, all right, which are in, you know, you men of the sea, all right, which are you Hamites, and as well as the Jake, that were played a major role, you know, in you know, of that transland, of that slave trade, man. And they were getting rich, right? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? So we see what's happening in Africa, right, with a lot of these kings throughout like Nigeria, Ghana, all right. They're heavy. They have all the gold. You know, they're practicing that whole Islam. You know, and you Hamites. You know, who's practicing that whole you Hamites that have all the power, all right, and you guys have disdain, all right. Like we're gonna check you guys, man, and we're gonna visit you, man, all right, and we're gonna take everything, man, because you have taken my silver and my gold, and I carried into your temple my goodly pleasant thing. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, right? So you Edomites, all right, you Ottoman Turks, you Khazars, that they might remove them far from the border. Behold, I will sell your son. Behold, I will raise them out of their places, whether ye have sold them, and I will return a recompense upon your own head. And that's what's going to happen, right? Because the elect is going to be raised up, and we're going to require, you know, our payback, all right? And the Lord, he's going to pay us back, right? He's going to redeem us, all right? And that's what's going to happen. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, right? So you Hamites, right? You know, you Persians, right? To people afar off, for the Lord have spoken, and that's what's going to happen, right? Because there's going to be a third woe, right? And we see what's happening, you know, and throughout right now, like the whole Niger, you know, they plan on having like a pipeline, right? And like Russia has like a major interest, right? But basically America doesn't want that, so they could basically send Al Shabaab people to you just pay them a lot of shekels or money, right? And basically they could start a lot of war, like they're gonna start a big war, you know, throughout that region, throughout Niger, throughout Africa, right? Because so that's gonna bring World War III, right? And basically this is leading to the Valley of Jehoshaphat, man, that all these different nations are gonna have to fight. So we're approaching this story that's you know, the script that the Heavenly Father has set up, right? And the elect is gonna have the victory, and we're gonna have power and dominion over the world, and you're gonna have respect unto us, right? You so-called a black man, all right? Like they're gonna have respect for the Israelites, and especially of the house of Judah, the kingdom of Judah. You're gonna have to have respect and bow down, all right? You're gonna have to bow down to your Lord, your King, all right? And that's what's gonna have to happen, man. So with that, let us all praise due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rekakodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect out there. Hopefully this video is edifying. Shalom.